So at their peak, there were over 6,500 chapels in Wales. This is one of them behind me here. This is Capel Libanus over in West Wales. And 6,500 is just an astonishing number when you take into account, the physical size of the country. And there's no current record of how many of those still exist, but over the past decade, it's been estimated that over 25% of all the churches and chapels in Wales have closed, and this is of course happening in England as well. And I was driving home last week after I finished up a trip, and I ended up photographing a few locations that I came across. I'll share that later in the video, but it really sparked this kind of interest in this idea to potentially start doing something long-term, visiting these spots and building up a collection of the interiors, shooting square format on the Mamiya 6 with color film, which is something I haven't done in quite a while. So something a little different, but something that I'm quite excited about. So I wanted to get out for kind of an initial day, which is what I'm doing today. I have like 5 or 6 spots on the list, starting with this one here, and yeah, we'll see what we find. But I think we'll head in, see what it's like inside. So I gotta say, this place is pretty incredible. I did not expect this kind of level of detail, with the stenciling and the painting on the pillars here and up around the top. It's amazing. Honestly feels like the doors have been closed for 20 years and I'm the first one in here since then. But this one specifically, I read that this was originally opened in the early 1840s and it didn't close until 1998, so not really that long ago. But a few years after that, it was acquired by a charity which is called the Welsh Religious Buildings Trust, an amazing organization. And what they do is, when possible, they acquire these old buildings once they've closed and keep them in their original state. They're still very much disused, but they do any necessary kind of repairs and upkeep so that they're kind of preserved and they last. So yeah, like I said, it feels like I'm the first person in here in the last 20 years. There's cobwebs, all of the original kind of things are still here, but the building's been kept up so that it'll last for a long time, which is obviously important. So yeah, amazing place and a good one to kick it off. I'm gonna grab my camera and we'll set up for a shot. So I do want to shoot back this way, but I think I'm going to do that from up there because right now at the bottom, kind of shooting up into the windows isn't looking great, but I want to shoot this way as well, just because the light's great coming from these windows. You have the clock, you see all the kind of stencil work. So we'll start with this one here quickly. And this is 50 mil on the Mamiya 6. Probably what I'll be on a lot today, nice and wide. And shooting some Kodak Gold, which is what I have a huge stockpile of. So we'll see how it does with these longer exposures. Yeah, the detail, the colors, and the light this way is amazing. So shooting f11, and we're gonna go reciprocity timer. I'm getting a 3-second exposure at f11, which is 4 seconds. So initially my idea is to shoot wide shots, probably a lot of them on the 50 mil, but when you're in these places, it's really hard to pass up just, making a bunch of different images. just because of all the details and again the light and stuff. So just gonna roll with it today. Gonna shoot those wides, but also anything else that catches my eye. So this perspective here is pretty neat. So the view up here is pretty amazing, working much better shooting down rather than kind of straight into the windows. We're gonna meter and shoot this, and time to get back on the road, I think. I'm just gonna meter the wood floor down there that the light's falling on. It's giving me 2 seconds at f11, and I'm happy with that. We'll get back to the video in a second, just have to take a quick break here to talk about the sponsor today, which is Squarespace. So if you're looking to build a website to showcase your photography, Squarespace is an incredible tool that allows you to make a professional website in minutes with no prior experience needed. You can get started with one of their professional looking templates or even from scratch using their blueprint builder. And I've used Squarespace for my own site for a number of years now. It allows me to share my projects and also sell my prints through an online shop. But one of my favorite things and most important is how easy it is to customize and update. And as an example, I recently wanted to add a new page for my coastal erosion project, and it's as simple as adding a blank page, inserting a gallery, dragging my images onto the screen to upload, and then clicking and dragging to reorder and sequence them. And it's an amazing way to showcase works in progress and see how a project looks as it comes together. So check out squarespace.com today and sign up for your free 14-day trial. And when you're ready to launch, you can use my link below to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. All right, so location number 2, like I said, this chapel is also managed by the same trust as the first spot that we were at this morning. And they were very kind. I gave them a call and they gave me the door codes and everything so I could get access to these places, which was really nice of them. But this one's called Bailey D, I believe is how you pronounce it. Another very rural chapel that they've looked after, and quite a bit different looking than the first one. Less details, a little more kind of simple, but as you look closer at the woodwork and stuff, there are some pretty neat patterns and details waiting there. But I think from a photography standpoint, maybe just an image or two here compared to the first one. So set up and we'll get shooting. Okay, not too many options here, but I'm going to start with this. Light isn't the best just because kind of just shooting into the windows, which could work. I'll expose for the interior, fine if they blow out. Might try something back this way after, but like I said, I do want to focus on always kind of, pulling back, shooting wide and focusing forward, but might not work at everyone. We'll meter though, and then get this one going. It's definitely brighter in here, that's for sure. Okay, I'm gonna go 1 second, stop down to f16, try and get everything in focus here. right, I'm gonna do another this way, just to make the most of this place. Just focused here with the window, and you have the kind of pew benches. Just how the walls stained, some neat textures and stuff. The light's really nice, so photograph this as well. It's a shame that the light isn't over there coming in these windows, because that would be the way to go with this one, but not much I can do about that. All right, so I just did a big wide shot right here, and that makes 3 images in this location. I think that's probably gonna do it. You know, it's a very peaceful place, but not as, I would say, maybe detailed as the first location when it comes to image making. But I think we'll get in the car and hit up a few more. I think there's one more chapel on the list, then we'll get into a few churches. So if you watch the channel, you might recognize this place. I stopped here when I was doing a large format video and made a couple images and wanted to come back. This was sort of in the area, so I put it on the list just because this is a very small, rural and old church. This is in Wales still, kind of in the Brecon Beacons, but the color in here, you know, this blue, and there's all these little details and paintings and pictures and everything's original. So thought it could be a fun one to pop into. Very different, obviously, than anything we've done yet so far. Coming up on the last spot of the day. This is back in England, across the border now. And this is actually a church that I passed by last week when I was driving home from North Wales. Disused church, kind of caught it out of the corner of my eye. Big bell tower and all overgrown. So I turned the car around, went back and checked it out, and you could actually get inside. I was in the care of a trust, similar to those chapels that we visited this morning. See it coming up here, but just pretty incredible inside. Very grand, tons of details, and yeah, looks like it hadn't been touched in a very long time. So figured this would be a good one to end our shoot today. So there's just so many things to look at in this place. You know, even starting over here, you have the organ, just a huge, massive thing. Then you come over to this side, you have all the stained glass, all the different kind of woodworking and little details in it all. And then as you come up here, this is where it really, you know, gets something else. You know, all the color, all the detail. And for this just to be sat here, you know, especially in somewhat of a small community, really hard to believe. I'm going to start with one of the organ here. So I came out of this day with a handful of images that I was actually really excited about. But as I mentioned the previous week, I spent a day photographing some different churches and chapels on a drive back from North Wales. And once I developed all of this film and saw all of the images together, I noticed this theme start to develop, and just something that really excites me to continue moving forward, just focusing on these spaces, these interiors, exploring these details and starting to build a collection of images. But out of all of these places, I think it's the chapels that interest me most, and probably where my focus will lie moving forward. Each one is just so unique from one another, and there's also just a character in these spaces that differs quite a bit from the churches that are much older. But also on another level, as I've started to learn more about the history of these places, you learn how important the chapels were to these local communities, and that's something that I'll talk about in depth in a future video. But overall, a fun couple of days, nice to shoot some color film again, and excited to see where this goes.